Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Pinfalls. I, of course, am who else but Tommy Else, and joining me, as always, is the man on the beat from Skokie, Illinois, and JohnG'sBeat.com, Mr. John Wroblewski.
I was paying homage to our friend, the Blue Meanie.
Yeah, repping your BWO shirt. I have a bootleg Cody Rhodes shirt. Client got it for me.
Nice.
Says finished the
Good that you
story.
promote bootlegging and not,
I
supporting
didn't buy the. I didn't buy
wearing
it.
it.
Well, what am I going to do? It's a free T-shirt. What am I
Well,
supposed to?
hey, some people have scruples.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we've got a big annual event here. That's
The sixth event, sixth um, airing of the event.
this is the sixth one now. Yeah, it's become a yearly thing. Crown
Part of the
Jewel.
10-year partnership. So at least another 4 years.
Yeah, I've had various issues with this pay-per-view over the years. One of my bigger ones that's been consistent though throughout it is that Saudi Arabia they pay a lot of money to have this show out there, which is one of the reasons that this is now a thing. WWE is cashing in just unbelievable amounts of money putting this show on. So with that though comes them getting say in how the show goes
I
to a
agree.
to
I
a degree.
agree.
But I mean, there's booking as far as like one year it was like, well, we want to see Goldberg or we want to see Lesnar or whatever. So now they're on the card, but it's like there's no reason really for them to be there, and so it's just like they're just making up some single match spectacle to have the person there, or they like someone in particular and they might go over or something in their match. I don't know that it's gone so far as to affect titles, but just enough little stuff that I don't like. I don't like other people having that influence. And that happens even on, lower levels of wrestling too, or, like even in the independents and stuff like that, people sponsor things and stuff, and then they want to see, a certain thing happen, or they want to, get to go in the ring themselves or whatever and everything, so I don't like that aspect of it.
I agree with you. And I think the WWE should be above having anybody potentially interfere with their card or have a say in their card. I think I'd like to continue this part of the conversation after our picks because I think this card is a little different than usual. The
Sure.
usual crown jewel.
Yeah. No, and there is reason to talk about it later on. So, but just getting that out of the way.
But I agree
My
with
other
you in theory,
my
yes.
my other issue has always been the whole women having to cover up
Yes.
for these shows and everything. Now I understand that they're respecting the local practices and everything there, but I also feel like, look, you watching it on TV.
Right.
You've all seen it, and you want them to come here and do a show. Let them do it in their gear, you
But
know?
where does that's the other thing too? Where does that end? What if another country says, I want all the wrestlers to wear blue? I want
Yeah.
them, we want them all to wear masks. They can't. What if it's in, Jewish
If they're
territory and they all have to wear yarmulkes?
if
Well,
they're in the if they're paying enough money, it sounds like, then they'll
yeah.
get
So,
what they
yeah,
want.
where does it end?
I agree.
What if they're here and you want them to all wear Tommy Else shirts?
Not to mention, well, I mean, that would go over just fine. There wouldn't be any resistance on that. But uh, and the other thing, which, personally, having to be from like neck to ankle covered up and wrestle a match. I mean, like even when I would watch Gold Dust, I would just be like, I don't know how he does it in
Yeah,
that suit,
very
man. I
hot.
mean, and they're basically doing the same thing. So, I mean, I just think it's uncomfortable too, but that's me. So, with all my initial gripes out of the way, let's get into the actual event of this year's 2024 Crown Jewel.
Airing Saturday at noon Central Time from Saudi Arabia.
All right, first up, we're going to talk about the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. We've got Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair versus Kairi Sane and Io Sky versus Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson versus Chelsea Green and Piper Niven in a fatal four-way tag team match.
Four,
And
yeah.
I couldn't care less about this match. Um, Cargill and Belair are the current champs, correct?
Yes.
So, honestly, I just don't see this isn't like there's nothing really to talk about. I don't know. I mean, who the hell wants to see any of the other teams win the titles? I
Well,
mean,
maybe I do.
well, maybe, but I've never been a Piper Niven person. We've talked about that. I don't get the whole Chelsea Green thing. A lot of people seem to love Chelsea Green. I don't know what it is that I'm not seeing with her, but I don't get it. Um, so I don't even want to see them. Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, I just don't like. You didn't go all the way to Saudi Arabia to let like the two new girls who nobody knows who
Yes.
they are win the match. This is a chance to get them out in front of people and showcase them. So good for them. But and then Kyrie Sane and Io Sky. The only reason I could see them possibly winning this is if they want to do something to finally get this Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair thing, uh, you know, moving forward. So uh, it's possible, and I think that's probably just because I don't have much else vested into this. I'm going to go ahead and say that they'll win the match just for the sake of moving the story along. So.
That's exactly what I thought. They need to the Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill story needs to start moving apart.
Nothing. Yeah, there's no forward motion in anybody's storylines if it does anything else. If you just let
Right.
Cargill and Belair win again, then it's like it may as well have never happened. So
Well, you could let them win if like one of them screws up and the other one has to save the whole match, and then she starts saying, I'm carrying the team. You could go that route.
it
But
depends on how long you want to take to do this whole thing,
yeah,
because then that's like the slow burn that they're doing with Kofi and
yeah.
Xavier Woods right now. It's like, well, you're doing this and you're doing. I mean, it's like it's this slow week to week, and that's going to take them forever to get there and everything. But if they want to like just get on with this, they lose the titles. They have they start having problems backstage. The next night on Raw or whatever. Yeah. So.
No, the two new girls, you're right. They're not going there to win the title. It's going to give them good exposure. That's fine.
Yeah,
Piper Niven, you and I have talked about her in the past. Make her a monster heel, make her run through the division, crush people, just go out there and be a total badass heel. And I do
hmm
like Chelsea Green. Very nice in person, by the way. But yeah, not as a tag team. I don't think he does either one of them anything. Damage Scott or Damage
That's
Control wins it.
yeah, that's something else I'll say is that I think part of the problem I have with Chelsea is that I think I would like her more if she was just on her own.
Yes.
I think if she was just a singles person, and like you said, Piper Niven, with a good manager as a mouthpiece, and her just go out there and just be a force of nature, that's all. Then she's good. Then she's taken care of. I mean,
What if,
it's not rocket science,
what if
but
you
they
teamed
just
with her in a mixed gender and it's Chelsea and Ellis?
well, I'm okay with that. Um,
Moving along.
all right, moving along, we have the United States Championship on the line as the champion LA Knight will be defending his title in a triple threat against Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. Uh, I have to say, I unfortunately have not been able to see enough to know the context of where we are with this feud. Um, I am just going to go with I think LA Knight is who basically one of the ways to pick for this show is who do the Saudis want to see win. So I think LA Knight will probably retain his championship. I'm sure it'll be a good match. Andrade's been really good since he's been back. And Carmelo Hayes has been awesome since the get go. I watched him in NXT before he came up here, and he had a good run, and he's a good wrestler. Um, he's if anyone was to win besides Knight, I would probably actually go with Carmelo Hayes. A lot of personality. He's someone who could carry that title. But again, I'm going to go with what do the Saudis want, and I think it's LA Knight.
I am also going with LA Knight. I think this is a little bit of a filler match. It's going to highlight or feature Andrade and Carmelo
Carmelo.
are going to get a good amount of time in there. They're going to get to shine. I don't know where it goes from here. Maybe those two spawn off into a feud, and then LA Knight goes into somewhere else to feud with someone else. But LA Knight retains it. That's what the Saudis want. I don't see any other reason for him to lose it.
Well, all right, there you go. That's two for two. We will still discuss
Yep.
well, the scoring, which has not moved since the last
Nope.
episode. But next matchup, we've got Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. Um, these two are all riled up and ready to rock. Randy Orton has demanded this match, and Triple H fears for Randy's safety because he thinks Kevin is just like off the chain or something like right now. And so with that, because Randy wants this match as bad as he does, I think he'll lose. I think Kevin Owens is going to go over. Um, and they're building up something with these guys, and this is going to be match one. And if Randy wants it that bad, and he goes and he wins, it's like, well, story's over. So I'm going with Kevin Owens.
I thought this might be the one that we had difference on, and I was wrong.
Oh,
Owen wins it. It's gonna be a slugfest, and and
sure.
like, and like you said, Triple H is worried. Everything points to Orton just getting demolished at some point. Even if he gives a beating too, he's going to take a beating. Maybe even Triple H comes in and like tries to stop the match. Maybe Cody Rhodes comes in and tries to who knows.
Yeah.
But either way, it's going to come in with your old our pro not tag mate, but roster mate Kevin Owens with the
You
win.
know, the guy was in the locker room for like three shows, and
Claim it,
you
claim
act
it.
like,
He claimed Jordan Grace too,
like we're best buddies or something like that. I can't you claim Jordan Grace was at one show.
and I interviewed her, and I'm claiming it. Well, it might be her first interview.
All right, moving on to something people might be more interested in. We've got Seth freaking Rollins versus Big Bronson Reed. Seth he's back for revenge on Bronson Reed after being put on the shelf from many of his splashes. Let me say something about Bronson Reed. Now, this is not his fault. This is the story, folks. But every time that guy has been out for roughly the last 2 to 3 months, and I'd say damn near every time, maybe 95%, it always turns into 20 security guards are standing around him and whoever the hell he's beating up. And that's something that they have completely overused. And it's just watered that whole thing down. It used to be a huge deal that security would come out of the back and try to like break
Right.
everything up. I mean, like that was like you wouldn't believe the way that Raw ended last night. They had security guys out there and stuff. Now it's at the top of the show. We're just tuning in and hey, we're backstage and all hell's breaking loose and stuff. And it's like what now? And I'm always looking at the security guys because they're always indie wrestlers
Right.
and stuff. So I'm always
Here's the
looking to
other
see
thing
like
too. I'm tired of seeing like,
I'm always looking to see like who if I know any of the guys who are out
but
there.
it's like good for them to get a little exposure. But I'm tired of like that kills any of the believability too. It's like then why say they're security guards? Why not say, yeah, we got to admit it. We've got local wrestlers here acting as security.
Well, I don't think they need to do that. It's
I
fine for them
do.
to call. I think it's fine for them to call them security.
I
It's just
don't.
because it's not obvious to everybody. Like you and I are around this stuff enough that like we know that and are looking at that stuff like that. Like I'm not only looking at that
I
as
think the no,
witness.
I think it's much bigger than that because then they start posting, here I was, their friends posted
Yeah,
it.
but like kids and stuff aren't thinking about
Well,
that. No, like 10-year-olds aren't looking at it and saying, "Oh, that guy's in training. He must be at
well,
NXT right now or
fair enough.
something." So we're being over analytical. I mean, give them a little bit of space on that. But anyway, they got to use them because,
I'm
there's
not saying they don't have to use them, but just call it what yeah, we always have, and it would even be impressive. We have local guys here, local wrestlers who have, because regular security can't handle it. We had to bring in tough guys.
it's a better angle, but I still don't think it's necessary. Anyway, let's talk about the match. I just think that this is like becoming like the new super kick. It's just like they gotta lay off the brawls. And I love that every time they're like, where's Adam Pierce? Get Adam Pierce out here. And it's like, what's he gonna do? The 20 guys out there can't put anything to it. What's Adam Pierce suddenly the Superman and he's gonna come out and take care of this? I don't know. Anyway, here we are, Saudi Arabia, Seth freaking Rollins versus Big Bronson Reed. I think Big Bronson Reed has had a real long stretch of beating the crap out of everybody. Seth is back for revenge, and they want to have a nice, good put over match for Seth. So he's going over for sure. I'm very confident in this one. He will beat Bronson Reed. And much to the delight of all of those in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think Seth needs the win, kind of. He doesn't need to win. He's established, but I think in this context, I think he needs to win. It could continue the feud, I guess.
Well,
Um,
Bronson Reed has, here's the thing, at this point, because of all of these ridiculous, brawls and stuff like that, and dealing with Braun Strowman of all people too, and going through cars and all that stuff, they've established enough at this point that he is a force to be reckoned
yes,
with, that this is not someone who just has been on a lucky streak or something
right,
like that. He's a
right.
big guy, he's fast, he can, but he's got to get beat at some point, and if you're going to be beat, you get beat by one of the best in Seth
Exactly.
Rollins. Seth can't just let people go and put him on the shelf and get away with it either. He's got to maintain his reputation. So it just all signs point to Seth, and he deserves it, and it's not going to hurt Bronson Reed at all. I mean, because even if Seth wins this and Bronson comes back and then destroys him the next night on Raw or whatever, it's still okay. It's like
Exactly.
Seth still got his revenge. It was still a big spectacle. It'll be a big match. It'll be
And
in front
people
of
forget about yesterday.
right. So it'll be fine. But yeah, I think I'm going with Seth on that one.
As am I, so we're still agreeing.
All right, moving on. We've got the WWE Women's Champion, my favorite female wrestler in the whole wide world,
There you
the
go.
one and only Nia Jax versus the Women's World Champion, Liv Morgan. Now, this is, while this is not a title versus title match, this is a match uh, that they have created a belt for that is exclusive to Crown Jewel. Then they did it for both the men and the women, right?
Yep.
Okay. I've seen these belts, and I just think they're just awful looking. I do. I just think they're. I mean,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just look they're just so forced and so stupid. And of course, and this is again getting back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. This is something that the Saudis wanted on this thing. They wanted to have some special belt at their thing. So they're gonna have the champion versus champion match.
But see, I mean, as much as I agree with that, I also say that at least this gives a reason for it's not just random matches for the card. Now there actually is fighting. And it's kind of cool to see the two champs going at each other.
It's
Um,
always cool to see the two champs go against each other, sure. So okay, so you win. Let's whoever wins this gets the special belt. And then what? Is it just on display in Saudi Arabia? Do they carry it around with them? Do they just,
I don't know. It's kind of like King of the Ring or Royal Rumble. It's another title for the wrestlers to have.
but
At
see,
least
there's
it gives
no, but
meaning to
there's,
the card.
but see, that's the difference though, is there's no physical thing to take with you though. Okay. You can win King of the Ring. I mean, some people wore like the scepter and the crown and
King
stuff like
Booker.
that. Right. But other people just were just King of the Ring and they didn't need to go around, in a cape and everything, telling everything. This is an actual belt you're getting now.
Yeah.
So
So maybe
what
they carry it
happens to it?
around.
I mean, I
Well,
don't
no,
know. There's
no, that's the
also
champ. Like
yeah,
who's
but
not gonna? Yeah.
and then for like yeah, and for a whole year too, and yeah, I mean, I guess maybe it's like the Andre the Giant statue thing, when you win that, it just I don't know. I guess you just take a picture with it and that's that's it.
I mean, my only thing is it gives a direction to the card. It gives a little purpose to the card. I do agree with the other flip side of that being, yeah, there's a useless belt. It's just created for this. It's so orchestrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like, what if another country with a lot of money says, Ireland, we want the leopard.
Then there will be another belt because you got to remember this also then gives them something to sell,
Right, exactly.
uh,
It's all
a
about
new rep
money.
a new replica belt as well. Now apparently the real one has got what like $10 million or something in diamonds or something like
Like, we'll
that in
never
the
know.
thing.
Who's going to prove it?
If it was anywhere but Saudi Arabia, I would say it's probably a bunch of BS. But I don't put it past them to go ahead and
That's
just
true.
say, if they're going to make a belt, and keep it in house, then I could see them putting the money up for it. So anyway, that's what these two women will be fighting over. The question is which way is this going to go? We've got Nia Jax and we've got Liv Morgan, who don't really have much of a personal issue with each other at this point. They've been contending with their own storylines. They used to be tag partners, I believe,
At one
at
point.
one point, and did relatively well with each other. But this again. There's nothing compelling about this. What you have here is the colliding of their two storylines because Nia Jax has to worry about
Tiff.
Tiffy. She's got to worry about Tiffany Stratton. Liv is dealing with what's her face, Rhea Ripley still. Dominic's out there, so who knows? This could just be just. I mean, and I'm not sure how this is contested. Like, I mean, can you lose by count out? I mean, are there disqualifications?
Yeah. Don't
I
know.
mean, because especially with a title, if there's a title on the line, and there's no reigning champion because there's no champion's advantage then.
Right.
So they can't do count outs because then what? You just win by a count out and you get the title. You're
Win,
not
but
supposed
yeah,
to.
I mean, you could. It would be
I
bad,
mean,
but you
but
could.
yeah. Um, so this is one that could really go either way, and so I'm just going to go off of personal prejudice, and I'm going to say that Liv Morgan is going to win it, because I will just want to jump out the window if Nia Jax gets this on top of the title and Queen of the Ring. I mean, she does not deserve to have that kind of a year. I'm sorry, she just doesn't, and I don't know anybody who agrees or disagrees with me. Anyone I've talked to at all about Nia Jax, before I can finish saying her name, they're telling me how terrible she is. So she should not get to go and win Queen of the Ring, the title, and this crown jewel belt. I
Well,
just don't think she should.
I believe you will get your wish. I think Liv Morgan is going to win this. Here's what I saw that the stupidest one I saw was Tiffany Stratton cashes in her money in the bank so that she could get in this match, which would be like the dumbest thing. You're going to cash in your briefcase to win the crown jewel and not cash it in to win the actual title. Like that would be dumb.
Well, I wonder how that works. I mean, because could she cash in and then she gets both titles? Like if she cashes it in,
No, because the titles aren't on the line.
yeah, that's true.
It's just the
Well,
crown.
you'd have to wait till the match is over. So let's say that
Now
that
that would be different if she comes in afterwards.
right.
But
So
I
I'm not
think
See,
Yeah,
because we've never had a dual title situation before where
right.
whoever was being cashed in on had two titles. But let's say Nia wins, uh, she retains the title, she wins this new belt, but then Tiffany cashes in on her. Yeah, does she get both belts or does she just get the women's title?
Well, she would just get the women's title.
You would think she'd just get the women's title because
Yeah.
the other belt really is about who wins that match between the two people. So
Well, see,
if I was in the brass and in the upper, you know, I would shoot down her getting that other belt. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to bring her in anyway because that just clouds a picture.
It wouldn't be smart because of, like I said, because there's so much other chaos
Yeah.
going on around the storylines between these two. There's so many factors that could make things go wrong and make your cash. And you want to make sure you've got, you know, plenty of room and you're the focus when you go to do that.
Well, yeah, it
If
takes the focus
Dominic's
off the
out
show.
there or Judgment Day or any of that sort of stuff, then, you know, it's gonna be just it's too risky. It's too
Yeah,
risky.
it takes the focus off. The whole point is the crown jewel. Now the crown jewel happened, but the real thing is now Tiffany actually beat her for the women's title. It it diminishes the crown jewel then.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
going with
So
Liv anyway, but I think Liv
yeah.
because
It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's all speculative. But yeah, for the match
the
itself,
match doesn't matter. Liv could win this. It's not going to hurt Nia. Nia doesn't deserve to win this. This will just pump up Liv a little bit more. So Liv wins.
Nia winning, it's not going to hurt Liv either. But it's just
It's
like
going
I
to hurt
said,
you though.
it's good. It will hurt me. It will hurt me. I will be in tears. And but it she just doesn't deserve it. All right, moving right along into the men's version of this scenario, we've got the undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes versus the world heavyweight champion Gunther. Uh, now, this is a compelling match. This is a real, I mean, this is a real coin toss. You know, I just there, you know, part of me feels like Cody Rhodes would be sort of like the natural way to go, but at the same time, Gunther has been able to surprise people and push the envelope on these types of matches and come out successful and do so convincingly, which to me is the most important part of this. He it's like he didn't seem like he should be like the IC champion, and then it didn't seem like he should be the IC champion for as long as he was, but he made it believable. He made it
Yep,
work.
yep, yep.
And then he became heavyweight champion and he's made that work. And I don't think that Cody Rhodes needs this. I don't think either of them really need it, to be honest with you. But I think if you're going to pick one that needs it more than the other, it'll behoove Gunther. And Rhodes has a lot more enemies at this show than Gunther does. So if there was anyone to say interfere bloodline wise, or who knows if anything from like the Randy Orton and Kevin Owens match somehow spills into there. Cody's got stuff in the background that could potentially screw him in this whole thing. Gunther doesn't have any of that drama. Gunther's just there to go and wrestle this match and take care of business. So, with that being said, I'm going to go with Gunther.
This is the one that caused me the most trouble trying to figure it out because, on one hand, you want Cody, not us, but they would want Cody to win, to be the dominant champ, to continue his
Yeah,
story, blah, blah, blah. But then, then you also are trying to build Gunther into this credible champ. And he already is a credible champ, but you want to continue building him too. A loss doesn't hurt either one, like tragically. I couldn't figure it out, but then I thought I was agreeing with you on that Cody's got more enemies. There could be more interference and it won't affect him. It won't hurt him to lose this match to Gunther.
yeah. Mhm.
So I think Gunther wins it, and then Gunther's got bragging rights over Cody, and who knows where that can go too.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's one more feather in his cap.
And it's one more
Um,
potential enemy or foe for
right.
Cody.
Yeah, and somewhere down the road, those guys will get into something legitimate. But it's kind of like this is a fun spectacle match because like it's like you said, it's always fun to see like the two champs, but you know, these are two with very unique styles or contrasting styles, I should say, uh, and we don't ever see them. I mean, I don't know if they've had a match before,
I was just
or
thinking that. Yeah, I don't think
if
so. I don't
they
know.
and
Like,
if
do they
they
ever
had
cross?
if they have, then I don't remember it being anything. But at this point in their careers where they're both at right now, this is probably going to be one of the better matches of the night, one of the more intriguing ones to see.
I agree.
So, okay,
Have we
here we go.
disagreed yet?
No, unfortunately, we haven't. Not
Toot
looking good
toot.
for me. It's not looking good for me. All right, here we go. We've got Roman Reigns and the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, versus the Bloodline. So that's Solo Sikoa and what's the Wolverine guy's name? There's
Fatu.
yeah, Jacob Fatu, and then the other guy. Uh, I don't know what to make of what's going on with this whole thing at this point. So I think that Jay Uso going back to the Usos or going back to the Bloodline or what they're calling the OG Bloodline is him taking a step backwards. That guy has, since he broke out of there, has been on a great singles tear. He's made a name for himself, and right now, I think is a bigger star than the other two guys. You
Yep.
know, as much as everyone loves Roman and he's the, original tribal chief and all that and everything, nobody's getting up on their seats and throwing their arms in the air for the other two guys. It's like he almost is like too big a star now to be like in this group,
Yeah.
So it seems awkward. And they're also kind of playing it up like, Roman doesn't really like trust him entirely yet either. So it's like if we're already starting with problems here, guys, it's like this. You're just picking up where you left off.
Yeah.
I'm glad that him and Jimmy, figured their stuff out and whatever. But so they did recently cost the Bloodline, the other Bloodline,
New versus old.
yeah, uh, the Rogue Bloodline. They cost them the tag titles on SmackDown. So they've got beef more than usual, I guess, with their family. Uh, it's so interesting, this whole bloodline thing. It's years and years of this, and this is where we're at now, to the point where everybody in this storyline and in this feud is all related to each other now. Now there's nobody involved in this that is not part of that
I do
family.
like that better though. I didn't like Sami
I'm
Zayn.
not saying anything. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's interesting because we've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
And it's very rare in wrestling when you can say that you've never seen a move or you've never heard this type of storyline before.
Right.
Anytime you can say that, that's really saying something because everything's a copy of something else and has been done before in some way or another. It's very rare you get original situations, but this is one where I mean, there's been definitely family versus family and stuff, but I mean, you're talking like two brothers or
Yeah.
something like
Right.
that. I mean, like we got like 15 people involved in this whole thing, and everybody, is going to see each other at Thanksgiving this year.
I was just
It's
gonna
like,
say Thanksgiving's gonna be awkward.
yeah, it's it's so it's interesting, but it's just a matter of them build. This is all building up to WrestleMania. Okay, this is all going to end up with The Rock versus Roman Reigns somehow or another. So the question is, how are they going to? It's got to go back and forth between now and then. So the question is, are we in the back right now, or are we in the fourth? Which way is this going to
Man,
go?
you're like dead on once again where I was thinking.
It's like which way? I mean, it's like so okay, so they just made them lose the tag titles. So now are they due to get revenge at them at Crown Jewel? Or I think personally, I think Roman and the boys need a win to start kind of establishing themselves up a little bit more because Solo's done really well. As much as they may not like him being the tribal chief and everything, those guys have been kicking everyone's ass and they've been doing a really good job and have all been on the same page and they're all very loyal to Solo. It's a much better oiled machine than the original Bloodline was, if you ask me, even at their best. So I think they've got something good going on, and I think Roman, he's got the guys back together and everything, but I'm just not seeing the cohesion that, they need for this. And if they are going to do anything with this, they've got to get a win on this, to push themselves forward a little bit. Uh, so I think that'll also be, again, what the Saudis want to see. I think they want to see the three of them with the fingers, to the sky at the end of the night and fireworks and all that sort of stuff. They want to see the good guys win that night. So I'm going to go with the original Bloodline and say they're.
Well, I'm a little surprised. I thought, as you were saying that, with all the confusion, etc., I thought you might be going with Bloodline 2. But I'm going with Bloodline 2 for
Oh,
really for the same reasons that you did. I think
okay.
you're going to continue the confusion, if you will, within Bloodline 1. It's just going to add to them, having to regroup and come back and whatever. Bloodline 2 remains dominant for a little more while, and then Bloodline 1 will come back and, as you said, back and forth. But I
Right. So
think,
then it's like the next one, then it's like, okay, well then Bloodline 2 will probably end up coming in and like if I'm right and my guys win this one, then the next one, then yeah, it's gonna be just this seesaw thing. They're just killing time between now and April right now. I
but
mean,
I don't
like
think it
they
needs to seesaw every back and forth every time. I think Bloodline 2 is going to win this. I think the problem with Jay, I always forget which is it Jay Uso and Roman that are having the issues. Roman has the issue with Jay.
yeah, Jimmy
Yeah,
Jimmy's in the middle, yeah.
right. So Roman doesn't trust Jay, so maybe something happens in the match which further leads him to not trust him. But in the end, he's going to be part of the OG, and they'll mend the fence, and then they'll beat the part 2 bloodline until they can figure something out and whatever. But for this one, I go with bloodline 2.
And here's the only thing that, and because again, I mean, we're both basically saying the same thing. The only thing that's tipping me towards Roman and his guys more is because of this being in Saudi Arabia, because they want the last shots of this thing to be all the fireworks blowing off around that place and everything. Thank you for joining us, here in, Saudi Arabia. Good night, everybody. It's and they're gonna want to see the three guys in the ring. Now, who the hell knows? Maybe The Rock will show up or something like that. I mean, there's all sorts of, and the thing is even your best educated guess can still go right out the window
Right.
with any number of things that can happen because there's still 10 more Samoans in the back ready to jump into the storyline if they need them. So, I mean,
Well,
who
I kind of
knows?
go with 2. It almost depends on where the match is on the card. Like if they're saving it for the last match, then
I think it is.
I think your guy probably wins.
I
But
think it'll be the last match. That's the one that's got the most drama behind
I
it.
don't know. I
Nobody
think
cares.
it might be the men's crown.
Nah,
But then you
I
don't know like what's going to happen. Again, there's so many things that could
I
happen.
say there. I bet they're going to open with the women's one.
Yeah.
They'll do the men's second to last. They close out with the bloodline. That's my
Well,
guess.
yeah. I mean, that could certainly could happen. But I'm going to throw the Triple H factor in there too. As much as I've never liked Triple H, I didn't like him as a wrestler. I don't like him as whatever. Um, but he has done a lot of good things since being like, whatever in charge he is at this point.
Yeah,
I think he's made some changes. This card feels more connected than any other, or not connected, but purposeful than any of the other Saudi Arabia cards. So
sure.
I don't think
No,
he's
this
necessarily
does.
going to cave to the crowd.
I agree that he's making it make sense at least, And no, I don't think it doesn't seem like he's bowed to the request too much. But I mean, at the same time, uh, there's still some. He still
Well,
has to
money
give.
talks.
Right. There's going to be something, and he's not like the final saying everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, uh, but we'll see. We'll see. But
Hey, we
yeah.
got one
So
different, man.
All right. So on that note, we are tied. No, no, no. I'm sorry. We're not tied. You are ahead of me currently. I made no progress in the last one because we had no difference in opinion, and I think we were both right on every one of our
Yes,
predictions too.
yes.
So
I am one up on you lifetime, and I believe three for the year.
all right. So I can at least you're
You can
one
buy
up
me
on me.
lifetime.
You're one up on me lifetime, or I'm
Yeah.
one up on you.
No, I'm one up on you.
Okay, so if we win this, I could at least tie up the lifetime.
Yeah. You can tie me lifetime.
I'll still be behind for the year. And what do we got? We still got Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Then that's probably it.
I had a
You know,
friend who watches this and goes, you guys agree too much. I said, well, what are we supposed to do? We're not going to disagree for the point of disagreeing.
yeah.
That's silly. And maybe it's because the WWE is predictable. Maybe because we're tuned in for whatever reason. And I don't know. But it's just I'm
Well,
not going to disagree with you just for the sake of disagreeing.
and then when we do disagree, then it means more. So,
Exactly. See?
you know. Well, all right. Well, I guess that's the card. That's Crown Jewel for 2024. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what happens. I have a chance. I have a chance at least tying up with this guy a lifetime. I don't like that it's that close at all. First of all, I don't like that I'm behind in any of this. Is
Well, I
just
made big move in
very
that one pay per
depressing,
view.
man. And I just have not. It's been a rough year for me. I mean,
Well,
compared
no,
to
it
my
hasn't.
previous
You actually
years.
have a good record this year. I just have a better record.
Yeah, well, I don't like that. I just don't like that.
Well,
But
sharpen your skills, man.
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, enjoy Crown Jewel. If
Saturday
you
noon central.
please share your predictions with us in the comments and tell us what you think. If you catch this and watch the pay-per-view, you can come back and let us know what you thought of it. And uh, yeah, love to hear from you. So, as always, for Pinfalls, I have been who else but Tommy else. And with me is the man on the beat from johngysbeat.com, Mr. Jonathan Meanie Wroblewski.